We're shifting gears even higher now. We're about to have a panel, an insightful panel discussion. We've got a list of experts here who are going to share with us something really insightful and interesting about the topic, the loss of fashion and cultural identity amongst immigrants. Now, I remember myself had an occasion once, and I remember we started as a group trying to decide what we're going to wear, and we're mentioning every other thing than quote unquote what we will term African wear. And I remember one lady picked me out and said, "What is wrong with wearing your African attire?" It didn't even come to mind of all the things that we're choosing. I thought of every other thing than an African attire. And I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting. So without much ado, I'm going to welcome our panelists for tonight. It's my pleasure, first of all, to introduce Joy Kelikume Oziomaka. Now, Joy is a trailblazing entrepreneur, fashion designer, business leader with over 15 years of experience. Now, most of you that were out at the Black Professional Scotland Awards sometime this year, you saw that she emerged the winner, so we know that face pretty well. Now, she's the founder of Kelikume Fashion and Styling, a brand that celebrates African heritage through contemporary design. Please welcome tonight, Joy Kelikume Oziomaka. Round of applause. Come on, you can do better. Come on. Don't tell me that round of applause is for all that style and elegance that we are seeing tonight. Our second tonight is no other than Belusini Musola. Now, Belusini is a remarkable entrepreneur who has transitioned from a career in biotech sales to founding a thriving African fashion business in Ireland. Over the past 7 years, Belusini's brand has earned widespread recognition and multiple awards, reflecting her passion for diversity and creativity. Please join me tonight in welcoming Belusini Musola. Please celebrate her as she comes. Thank you so much. And last but not the least, it is my pleasure to introduce Ivan Egan, a multi-talented filmmaker, producer, and director. Now, Ivan is the visionary founder of the Accra Indie Film Fest. This is a platform dedicated to championing short films and emerging filmmakers across Africa. Ivan has a career spanning in acting, directing, and producing, and has made his mark both in Ghanaian and Nigerian film circles with award-winning work and iconic commercials, including the famous Alomo Goat ad. If you don't know, please go and find it afterwards. Please welcome me tonight as we welcome Ivan Egan tonight. Thank you. Well, one more round of applause for our panelists. We're just going to go straight into the questions for tonight. I don't know whether I'm going to take views from all of you on all the questions, but maybe not. But with the first question, certainly, how would you define African fashion, especially in the context of our cultural identity? Probably we can start with Ivan, and then we'll move that way.
I think I will explain it as a form of expression, because we all have dreams, we all have aspirations, we all have our own roots, and sometimes just not by saying where you come from, just showing what you're wearing definitely tells where you're coming from. So that's how I can explain that.
Yes, Bert, how would you define African fashion, especially in the context of our cultural identity?
For me, it is being bold, being proud of who you are, and just being yourself, especially in a country where there's not a lot of African people. I think 90% of people are white. So it's bold to just show out as yourself.
Amazing. Show out as yourself. We'll draw Kelly's insights on the same question as well.
Okay, I will appreciate if you cut me short because this is a topic that I'm very passionate about. I'll just, mine will be just carrying on the legacy. A lot of people have worked so hard, to create a culture that represents us. So we have the onion, we have the power to continue to make it happen. We just keep the fire burning. I think I'll just end it that way.
Wow, amazing stuff. I like the part of, a lot of people have worked hard to bring us to this point. Sometimes I think it's the thing that resonates with me the most. That it didn't start with us. This has been years, centuries, in the making. And so it shouldn't end with you. You should probably continue it for the next generation. Now, do you feel that African migrants in Scotland have to compromise parts of their cultural identity to fit in? Do you, I don't know, but maybe for your observation, especially with what you do you feel that we need to compromise our identity to fit in? Why or why not? We're going to start with you, Joy.
I love the word integration, but I don't think I like the word compromise. I don't like the word compromise in the sense that I don't want us to lose what we have. Coming from a different part of the world and moving into another part of the world that has a total different culture from us, different weather, integrating will be the best words to use. For instance, we need to be accepted because coming into a country, you have already been accepted. By just crossing the border and they're stamping your passport, you've already been welcome. It is good to carry on your culture, definitely. But at the same time, you also need to be diverse about it. We need to be very intelligent about it so that it doesn't lead to stereotyping. It doesn't lead to discrimination. So for me, I would use the word integration and not compromise. And integration in the sense that we have our own cultural fashion, and I'll use as an example, I would say our fabric. What I'm wearing today is Ashoke. Ashoke is Nigeria. Anybody you see wearing Ashoke, you already know that this is from the Yoruba part of Nigeria. Now, integrating it into this culture, you are using it to make a style that is Western, or a style that can also be accepted by the people in your environment in order to reduce discrimination and stereotyping. In Yoruba land, this style is not accepted. This fabric is originally used to tie wrapper or to tie your hair tie. But today I'm using it to make top and pants, and a lot of people also use it to make blazer and shorts. So they can also be accepted. That way we are still carrying our culture, we are carrying our identity, we are carrying our heritage, along. So the word compromise, I don't like the word compromise, I'm sorry to say, and I don't want us to compromise as Africa, because our children are going to question us. By the time they go back to history, they'll be like, but mom, why did you allow this happen? So I think I would really appreciate if you do integrate and not compromise. Thank you.
That's incredible. Please, a round of applause. Pelicini, can we get your thoughts on the same as well?
I totally agree. And for me, as a first gen, so I was born and raised in France. I've never been to Africa. But wearing African clothing gives me a sense of identity and brings me to my roots. And I'm very proud of it. So I think it would be a shame to lose everything just because you want to compromise or satisfy a version of fashion. We are unique, we are beautiful, we are bold, so we should be proud of it and wear it. I also agree with the point she made about not being too much or too traditional, or like find the middle ground so you can still wear it in a way that in every day, in this culture, in this society, you are still accepted. But do not forget yourself and do not deny yourself. Be proud. So I wouldn't say compromise, I would say adapt.
Amazing. It's a round of applause. Very interesting insights. Even, can we also get your thoughts on the same?
I think they have actually said everything. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with all the things that they mentioned. It's really critical for us to be able to integrate into, because we're coming from a very different weather condition and here as well. And sometimes you just have to adapt to be able to just make sure that you're not losing where you're coming from. Also, because the weather is still hot, so you always feel like wearing the coat and all of that. But beneath that, you can still leave something in there so that when you take the coat off, you still feel like, okay, you're from Ghana, you're from Nigeria, you're from any other African part that you're coming from. So it's really essential. And I think one of the things that will be essential for us to be able to do or keep it is to be intentional about it. So it's not like we're doing it by chance or anything like that. We just make sure that, okay, in the course of the week, how many times are you wearing African prints, to just make sure that wherever you step in there, they see that they see and know where you're coming from. So the extra I'll just add is just make the conscious effort to represent as much as you can.
Amazing. Please, a round of applause to our panelists. I'm learning so much just by even sitting here and listening to all these answers. It's mind blowing. Like the words they're using, that integration, adopt. It's not adapt. It's not just For example, I remember being young, and my first time in the UK, and I think it was winter and it was super cold, and you get all these scarves around your neck. Going back to Ghana, I bought so many of them, and I remember, getting back and putting them around my man. And my sister was looking at me like, "What's wrong with you?" Like, I said, "My guy, it's 38 degrees here. What's this thing around your neck?" It's like, don't come and collapse on us and create any trouble for us. But I think it's that sense, where you bring that same fashion sense here, but you find a way that it blends to whatever we're doing here. Please, a round of applause to our panelists. Great insights. Now, are there any particular aspects of our African fashion that you think is being lost? Here, we'll start with Ivan. Are there any aspects that you think is being lost here in Scotland? I mean, we will speak here because we're here.
Yeah. I think I will mention the vibrancy, and the vibrancy is because if I was supposed to be in Ghana, most of the times I'm not wearing black or white or anything like that, something more colorful. But sometimes you just feel like, okay, that also comes back to the cultural difference. Sometimes you don't want to be too attacking. And I'm using the word attacking in quote, because sometimes you just step in and it's like you're just assuming everybody in the room and all of that. So sometimes you feel like you want to. I think that's the point where using the word compromise is not appropriate, because it means like you were just condoning to whatever that is. But sometimes I think consciously or unconsciously we tend not to do something like that because we feel like, okay, we don't want to be the center of attention, so we need to dumb down the colors a little bit so that you don't leave the space and everybody's talking about you and all of that. So I think that's one of the things. But that also doesn't mean that we need to shut on what actually represents us, because we are bold, we are visible. Wherever we go, you need to feel our presence. And so in as much as it's tough to be able to create that space in a very different cultural background, we still have to just be intentional about being able to just add a little bit of that in the moment. So,
thank you. Round of applause for Evan. We want to draw your thoughts on that, Belisina. Are there any aspects of African fashion that you think is being lost here in Scotland?
Personally, I don't have this point of view. I don't know if I mentioned, but I am French and I came to Scotland 7 years ago. I live in a very small village where there's not many Africans, to be honest, but the ones that are here are very proud. I've seen people wearing headscarves, I've been seeing people wearing African clothing or pieces of African clothing. So I think that in Scotland, African people are actually very proud of where they are from, and I don't see that it's lost. And even today, just in the room, looking at everybody looking so good in their African attire, I can tell that we are proud of wearing what we have. So I wouldn't say that it's lost.
Round of applause for Billy State. Amazing. Amazing observation. Joy, can we draw your thoughts on this as well?
I think I totally agree by the word not lost. And I also want to mention a word that one of the panelists mentioned. He mentioned intentional. Now, I'll just give an example. They've really said a lot of things, but I'll just chip in with an example. When I moved to Scotland, Aberdeen, 2 years ago, I was almost compromising because of social influence. But what did I do? I became intentional about it, because it will be bad as a designer losing it. Then what did I do? I thought about something. I became creative. Then I launched the first of its kind. I never knew it was the first of its kind. It was called the Summer Fashion and Feast, which was June 2nd. I collaborated with a restaurant, a Nigerian restaurant, and I launched Summer Fashion and Feast. Now, what did I do in those collections? I used our African fabric. Our fabrics are beautiful. They are warm, acceptable to the body, to the skin. And there's this what they say, there's no, a golden fish has no hiding place. If you step out, wow, you'll be seen, you'll be noticed. So, but now what did I do? I used those fabric to make Western style. I still have some on my stand to make some Western style that will be acceptable by everybody, even non-Africa. At the end of the program, I just did my thing. And at the end of the program, I was all over the radio. I was all over, the headlines. First of its kind in Aberdeen. First of its kind in Aberdeen. Kelly Kume brought color to the grey city. And the truth is, I never knew that was what I did, but I was just doing my thing. So I wouldn't want to use the word lost, because we still have it among almost all of us, especially the creative, we in the creative industry. We really need to be intentional about it to just keep the fire burning. I like using that word. Thank you.
Now, you touched on a very important aspect, especially for those of you in the creative. Now, how do you find a place in the Scottish market? If you were speaking to, somebody coming up or somebody listening, or even for us, the everyday African, what we wear, how do you find a place in the Scottish market as a creative, as a fashion designer? We'll start with you, Kelly, just because you touched on that.
Okay. Now, I will always give an example of what I did, because the best thing to do is a case study. So I'll always use a case study of my own experience and what I did and why, and what I did is really, going well for me, that people are now learning from. I looked out for communities. Communities like this. I looked out for programs like this. So I joined the community. So the very first one I did, there's this group called the African Women's Group Scotland. It was their end of the year party. And I approached them. I said, I would like to showcase my outfit during your event. And it was amazing. So you look for a group, you look for group, look for community, then also look for your fellow creatives in the industry. I'm very happy about this program. No one has invited me to this kind of program. First phone call, I just said, is it thick? I will attend. Then look for individuals that have the same line of thought as you are. So that way you are uplifting each other. You are dreaming the dream. You are achieving your dream and, making it just a success. I'll leave the rest option.
No, that's amazing. Please, a round of applause for Kelly. That's great insights. It's everything we need. Like she's talking about the collaboration, the partnership, the coming together to put together. One person can do it. And I'm sure we've seen from, all through this afternoon till tonight, all the people, the various vendors being here, all of you being here. So it's not a one-man show like she's saying. And thank you. That's a great insight. Yes, Belusina, we'll draw your thoughts on that. How do you find a place in the Scottish market? How has it been for you?
I will join Joy, and for me it has been networking. especially coming from a very small city. I didn't know nobody in Glasgow. I didn't know nobody anywhere. So everything started with networking, going intentionally to events or places where I could meet people that do the same thing as me. The other big part for me that worked is social media. I am very active on Instagram. I'm starting TikTok, but pushing and showing pictures. And also the other thing is I do not only design for African people, but I design for everybody. And I try to show the fashion into the Scottish world as well, not only for African, but also for any ethnicity to wear my clothes. And what I did was I would hire models that are from different ethnicity, put clothes on them so they can see that actually, even though it's very colorful, it looks good on me too. So they can also buy it and enjoy it. So social media and networking, I have been in groups. I was with the Black Professional UK. I was with Proudly Black and Scottish. Through them, I met so many people, and through them, because I met so many people, we also did so many projects, and it just keeps on expanding because of one event. Even like today, I plan on networking with people in the room, so you can come and catch me. And we never know, tomorrow we can do something. Maybe you can do a video with me, or maybe we can collab on some fashion show. And this is how I keep on growing. And I think this is very important: collaboration, networking, and social media.
No, incredible. Please a round of applause. I'm just enjoying the vibes. I'm enjoying the wording. I'm enjoying the advice. It's so refreshing to hear. Ivan, we want to hear your thoughts on this one as well. How has it been for you? I mean, I'm seeing your pictures all over. You just came from London. I think you were in the House of Commons winning an award. I mean, so we want to know how you're doing it. How is it? How are you rolling things so quickly?
Yeah, things are really running so fast, and sometimes it just feels like what's going on, but there's so many things going on. I think touching on creativity or in the creative space, I really haven't done so much of creating, either being a film or being anything, but I have been doing more of managing, which still kind of cut into the same space. When I came in, I was one of the international student ambassadors, and on the social media spaces, one of the things I was doing is to just make sure that I showed them some of the things that we do in Ghana. So I could be cooking and then be posting all of that on the university's post, so that people will know it's not always about what's happening here only, but it's what we also do back home as well. And I remember I put an event together which was called African Festival in the university, and there were a lot of amazing food, fabric that we were showing on the university campus as well. And then beyond that, I also had to find a middle ground to be able to create an experience in the university that kind of bring other universities across the world together, which was the Napier Film Festival, which was really amazing to be able to we received over 200 films from different filmmakers across the world, and we were able to show some which include film from Africa as well. And one of the things that I'm looking forward to be doing alongside British Council is to be able to create what we call AIF London Connect, and that is to be able to create a relationship between the creatives in the diaspora and that of Africa, so that they just know that, okay, and the idea is to just bring some of the films that have participated in my festival in Ghana as well as here, so that they see what creatives back home are doing. And so any creative or filmmaker who wants to just go back and make a film knows how professional filmmakers in Ghana or in Nigeria or any African country are, so that they can collaborate with them. And it's still an ongoing conversation, but we're looking forward to be able to make it happen. Yeah.
Incredible stuff. Please, a round of applause for Ivan. I think we need more of these events. I mean, from what he's saying, it's, we need more of these events. We need more of these networking events, things like this that bring us together, that push us out there. I think it can be overstated. So thank you all so much. This is great. Last but not the least, just because of time, we want you to speak to our younger people, our younger generation. especially for them, those that were born here, those that, they are not used to all of these that we're wearing. I'm sure that their parents here that say, it's like every morning we want to give them this beautiful, well-sewn dress, and they're like, no, give me my hoodie, give me my joggers. They don't want to. But if you were to speak to them, to encourage them, what would you say? We'll start with you, Ivan.
What I would say is, if you really do get a chance, go back home and have a feel and taste of how your origin actually feels like. And I think that also goes to the parents as well. Even if the children do not force you, please try and create a space. Let them go and have a feel of how being a Ghanaian in Ghana actually feels like, not being a Ghanaian in Scotland. Then again, this is an extension of where we're coming from, and I think it gives us an extra opportunity to be able to extend whatever that we do or whoever that we are to the people around us. We are in a global village now, and cultural extension is a big deal. And so when you get the moment, even if you're not in Ghana, whoever you meet, Nigeria or any other African country you're coming from, just make sure that you let them know where you're coming from and how it actually feels like to be here. And if they also get opportunity, you should be able to convince them to go and see what we also do have in Africa. Thank you.
Great. Please a round of applause for Ivan. Thank you so much. But Lucini, if you're to speak to a younger generation, in terms of the identity, we just put it on, the African wear or the African fabric, whatever design, like you said, it's not necessarily, putting it on in the way that is at home, trying to find the middle ground, like Kelly was showing us. If you were to speak to them, to encourage them, what would you tell them?
I would tell them, don't be afraid to be different. Maybe your friends don't wear African clothing because they're not African, but don't be afraid to wear proudly African clothing and be different from them. Don't be afraid of criticism or them making fun of you, because sometimes when you are young, other people's opinion matters so much. But be proud of who you are, even though you weren't, because when you said go to Ghana, I felt a bit offended. Because I'm Congolese, but I've never been born and raised in France, even though. But even though I've never been in Congo, even though when I try to speak Lingala, I have a huge, strong French accent. It's terrible. But still, I'm very proud because I'm unique. This is who I am. So be proud of who you are and don't be afraid of being different.
Wow. A round of applause for Belicini. That's amazing. Being proud of who you are. I think, as the years go by and advancing years, is the thing that I come to realize the most, is be true to what you believe, And I think, like you said, when you're young, you're just so concerned about other people's opinions, whose opinions they don't even know where it's going to lead you to, by the way. And so I think for the young people here that are listening, be true to what you know is truth. Don't let that go for somebody else's version that they don't even practice themselves, but they're just trying to let it discourage you and push you away from staying the true cause of what you need to do in life. So that's amazing. Another round of applause for Belusini. And finally, we want to end with you. If you were to speak, and I'm sure you've probably had this many times where parents have probably come to your stand and say, I want to get this for my daughter. Be like, no, mommy, I don't want this. If you were to speak to our younger generation, or even maybe some of us who are here that are older but are still, not convinced about everything we've said, what would you say?
You know what happened when you first of all asked that question? I was looking at my daughter and my niece. Please don't ask them for feedback. Now, in my little space, I try to dress up well. And when I go out, is either you catch me in Adire Ankara, Ashoke, Akwete. I try to use our traditional and I wear it well. And when I wear it, the kids go, "Oh, mom, you look beautiful." You're already encouraging them. You're putting something into their head. My niece is sitting over there. Next year is our prom. And she said, "Auntie Kelly, I want a flamboyant dress in Ankara to wear for her prom." Now, I'm sure she didn't just wake up one day. It's because she's been seeing me in it. My daughter will go, "Oh no, mommy, I can't wear this. I'm not like you. Oh no, mommy, I can't wear this. I'm not like you." She will go joggers and hoodie, just like her. Look at her. So she's more like an opposite of mommy. You will not believe that is my daughter. But what happened during my summer fashion and feast? She bought a corset made in Ankara. She wore it earlier. Now she said, "Oh, mommy, I'm getting tired, please. Can I go and change to my hoodie?" I said, "Yes, go ahead and change." At least she has worn it for that little time. So it's just encouragement. It has to come from us first. Really, we parents, father, mother, it has to come from us. That's why when I design, I love the showcase. What I saw here? I saw adults and I saw children. That way, adults are wearing, children are wearing. We're already encouraging them at the very early stage. By the time they grow up, come on, they will always want to wear this. Thank you.
Amazing. Please, thank you all so much. A round of applause to our panelists as they take their seats. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Belusini. Thank you, Ivan. It's been great. Please celebrate them as they take their seats.